Greetings ladies and lads, and a happy Halloween to you! Today, for the first time in this channel's history, we're going to enjoy the spooky season with some 40k models, instead of another Age of Sigmar character like we usually do. The Vespid Swarm is often portrayed as a very vibrant and colourful bunch, a scheme that makes itself great on any tabletop. However, I want to give them a paint job that nails down the actual horror of these man-sized insectoids, taking inspiration from one of the greatest brood of foes humanity has to face in the far-flung future, the Terminids from Helldivers 2. Minis primed, references gathered, let's get right into it. We start with a very dark brown as the base for our exoskeletons. A big brush swung in confident swipes gets the job done quickly and effectively. This whole thing is actually not meant to be a speed paint, but the core of our approach today could definitely be considered to be one. Once the armor is fully dry, we come to the dry brushing phase. I'm leaning my kill team on the design of the hunters and stalkers of the game, with a touch of brute commander to give the armor a nice gradient in its brightness levels. We achieve this by covering less of the miniature each time we switch to a brighter color, focusing our attention to the top parts of their bodies, where the focal point should be. Once we reach an almost white paint on our palette for the details, the exoskeleton is completely done. Now it's time we bring some color into the mix, starting with a rich red for the wings on their back, the spiracles forming their abdomen, the softer parts under their exoskeleton, and of course, the eyes. This lays the foundation to yet another gradient, this time moving from the previous red all the way to a bright orange. It'll take a couple of thin coats for a smooth blend, though I'm not too careful with the brush strokes themselves as to get a little bit of an organic texture as well. I'll let the result speak for itself. The Vespid have some crazy weapons, firing projectiles of radioactive crystals found on their home planet, which have some really neat in-game features like shards that get stuck in wounded enemies to damage them over time. To emphasize the radioactivity, I decided to paint the warriors with the biggest weapons, namely the flamethrower and the grenade launcher, with a poisony green gradient. This doesn't only look cool, but also works with our reference Terminids, like the bile spewer for example. Back to their weapons, I think a faction that needs to have their instincts suppressed to form cohesive tactics wouldn't necessarily take great care of anything their animalistic nature isn't already used to. To make more clear what I mean, we take a medium brown to sketch in rough edge highlights and battle damage. Should a streak not be to your liking, just run your finger over it and try again. If the paint smears, it'll just look like more dirt on the weapon. Watering the paint down also helps a great deal when simply panel lining the guns. For a simple glow effect, I took some green contrast paint and just washed it around the housing of their crystals. And like that, our Vespid are basically done. Though there is one more thing that I have seen a couple of Terminid players do that I always wanted to try out myself. Taking a bit of glue on a wooden toothpick, we smear it around their mouths and mandibles to try and get some strings to form around them. Like thick strands of spit or maybe poison, this stuff really brings our insect warriors to life, bringing also another note of disgust into the mix. Perfect. What's not so perfect is the circumstance of me running completely out of time, which is why we don't go with elaborate bases today, alright? Some rust for the steel beams and quick sandstone textures for the ferrocrete are all that I can do for now, finishing the paint job by painting their rims in a smooth pitch black. Killteam is one of these systems that gives the designers of Games Workshop the chance to step out of their comfort zone and be a bit more daring with what they can do for 40k. Today, I hope that I could deliver a paint job that lives up to the spirit of experimentation. Halloween is a special date for me, as it has consistently resulted in some of my best work that I've ever done, painting and editing wise. The keen-eyed viewer will have also noticed that there are a couple of minis missing, and that's because I have some more really cool and interesting stuff planned for these guys that I unfortunately didn't have time for today. But we'll cover in a second part of this project, for which I'd be more than happy to see you again. As always, I have all the paints that I used for this paint job orderly listed down in the description of the video. And if you have questions, maybe some suggestions, be my guest and leave them in the comments section. Killteam is such a cool system, and I definitely want to explore more teams than just the Vespid. If you want to see more videos like this, as well as take a peek at the other amazing projects that we did over the years, I wholeheartedly recommend to check out my channel and hit that subscribe button, as I am really looking forward to seeing you again in my next video. Until then, take good care of yourself and have a happy Halloween.